Mom, how could you even speak to her like that? He tightened his hold on Wine's trembling hand, anchoring her close to him as if shielding her from the world. His stance was protective, his jaw clenched tightly. Her voice sweet but quick. How could I talk to her? Jungkook, are you really believing her over your own mother? She placed a hand over her chest dramatically, but Jungkook was unmoved. His teeth gritted audibly. Mom, you burned her hand over a little less salt in the food. I tasted it myself. It's perfectly edible. Why are you making such a big deal out of it and hurting her? He could barely contain his rage. Earlier that evening, Jungkook had come home from work, exhausted but excited to see Wine, as he always was. Normally, she would come running with a bright smile, throw her arms around him, and bombard him with stories about her day. But today there was no wine. The house felt empty, silent. He had called out for her. Wine, where are you? Mrs. Jones had merely rolled her eyes and muttered dismissively. She must be resting in her room. And then she walked away, indifferent. Chungu clenched his fist so hard his knuckles turned white. His patience was hanging by a thread. Still swallowing his growing anger, he went to search for his wife. First, he checked the room empty. He called her phone. It rang uselessly on the bed. Abandoned, panic began tightening around his chest. She never goes anywhere without telling me. Where is she? He searched every corner, the bathroom, the balcony, the kitchen, the living room. Desperation clawed at him. Finally, he glanced towards the rooftop. Heart hammering, he rushed upstairs, and there she was, his wine. Sitting on the cold floor, her body trembling with silent hiccups, tears streaming down her cheeks as she clumsily applied ointment on her injured hand. Her right hand was badly reddened and swollen, while she struggled awkwardly using her left. Jungkook's world shattered. Without a second thought, he sprinted toward her. Jungkook, but he pulled her gently but firmly into his arms, cradling her protectively against his chest. How did this happen? Tell me. She shook her head, trying to stay silent, but Jungkook insisted softly yet firmly. Finally, she whispered through her tears. I made dinner, but there was a little less salt. She poured hot oil on my hand as punishment. Jungkook felt like someone had stabbed him in the heart. He gently took her hand, examining the burn. His blood boiled in rage. I'm so sorry, my love. I'm so sorry you had to go through this. He picked her up in his arms in a bridal style, as if she weighed nothing, and carried her back to their bedroom, settling her down tenderly on the bed. He applied fresh ointment to her injury, blowing softly on it to ease the sting. Let's go have dinner together. You don't have to face them alone. I'm here. They made their way to the dining area where Mrs. Jones and Mr. Jones were eating casually, as if nothing had happened. Mom, I never thought you could be this heartless. What's your tone, Jungkook? Is this how you talk to your mother? Right, because respecting someone who burns my wife's hand over a little salt makes perfect sense. He stepped closer, holding Wine's injured hand up carefully for them to see. The burn was unmistakable, raw, angry red against her delicate skin. She doesn't even know how much salt to put in food. How pathetic. Mr. Jones disbelief and disgust. You did this over food. Are you insane? Jungkook ignored them both. He walked over to the dining table, picked up a spoonful of the dinner, tasted it, and turned back to his mother. It's completely edible. If you thought the salt was less, you could have just added it yourself. What kind of cruel person pours hot oil on someone over this? Don't you dare talk to me like that because of her. I never liked her in the first place. Something inside Jungkook snapped. Good, because from now on, you don't get to like her or dislike her. You lost that right that moment you raised your hand against my wife. Without waiting for another word, he grabbed a tray, filled it with food, and turned away from the table. He wrapped an arm around Wine's shoulders protectively and walked her back to the room, never once looking back. That night, Jungkook fed Wine with his own hands, whispered, apologized between kisses to her hand, and vowed silently to never let anyone hurt his princess again, no matter who it was. It had been almost a week since Jungkook last stepped into his office. There was a reason. He had been working from home, managing everything remotely. Meetings, deals, reports, all while never letting Wine lift a finger. Her hand was still healing, and Jungkook made sure she rested. He cooked breakfast and dinner for her, brought her tea exactly how she liked it, and didn't even let her work. Mrs. Jones was fuming, of course, watching her son pamper his wife like a fragile doll. But with Jungkook around, she couldn't say a single word to Wine. In their softly lit bedroom, Wine sat cross-legged on the bed, watching her husband type away on his laptop. Jungkook, I'm tired now. My hand is fine. Look. She held it up with a pout, waving it at him for attention. But Jungkook kept his eyes on the laptop. Hey, I'm talking to you. That made him stop. He closed the laptop slowly, placed it on the nightstand, and leaned in to press a warm kiss to her forehead. I know, my love, I know you're better now, but still, it's not completely healed, and I don't want you straining it. But I'm fine, really. Jungkook chuckled at her expression, cupped her cheek gently, and leaned in to kiss her lips. It was short, sweet, but enough to make her eyes widen in surprise. Her ears turned crimson, and she quickly looked away, hiding her face with both hands. What happened, princess? Embarrassed now? You are impossible. He laughed again, ruffling her hair lovingly. I have to go to the office today. There is a client I can't postpone. But you better not lift a single thing while I'm gone, or else. He narrowed his eyes playfully. Okay, I will take care of myself. And what should I bring for my lovely wife today? Ramen, ice cream, snacks. One's mouth watered just hearing the list. Her eyes lit up as she licked her lips. Would you mind bringing all of them? She gave an innocent blink, then laughed. Just kidding. But please bring me ice cream, pretty please. I have been craving it so badly. She stuck out her lower lip in a cute pout. Jungkook couldn't resist. He leaned forward and kissed it. As your highness commands. Wine giggled, her heart fluttering. Jungkook began getting ready, slipping into his tailored suit. Before leaving, he kissed her forehead softly and whispered, "Just wait for me, I will be back before you miss me." And with that, he left. Jungkook finally returned home, tired but eager to see his wife. As he entered the apartment, he saw Wine standing alone in the kitchen, her back facing him. A smile crept onto his lips. He quietly approached her and wrapped his arms around her from behind. "There is my girl," but his smile faltered. In her hands was a single piece of dry bread. "Why are you eating this, my love? There is food in the fridge." He turned toward the fridge to get her something better, but as he grabbed the handle, it didn't budge. Locked. What the hell? Who locked the fridge? Wine turned away, sobbing softly. He immediately turned back to her, cupping her cheeks gently. "Hey, what happened? Talk to me." She shook her head, tears rolling down her cheeks. "Wine, please tell me." "Mom, she locked it. She said I can't eat anything because I accidentally broke a glass." Jungkook stared at her in horror, heart shattering. "I swear it slipped from my hand. I didn't mean to. But she said I only know how to eat, not how to work, and she locked the fridge. I didn't eat anything since you left." Jungkook blinked. He had left at 11 in the morning. It was now 10 at night. His breathing became sharp, his fists clenched at his sides, his jaw tightened. "What?" "Of course, go ahead, fill his ears now." He turned slowly, eyes dark and dangerous, rage brimming over. "You starved her? He locked the fridge because she broke a glass?" Mrs. Jones raised her chin defiantly, but Jungkook wasn't done. "She hasn't eaten all day, not a single bite, and you watched her suffer in silence for hours." "Well, maybe she will learn something if she doesn't get spoiled every second." "No, what you need to learn is that this is my house and she's my wife. If anyone's out of line here, it's your mom." He turned and gently took Wine's hand. "Come, you don't have to stand here another second." Changuk turned around sharply, his eyes blazing with a kind of pain and anger he had never shown before. "Is this what you wanted? Fine then, I will live with her. And I swear you will never see my face again." Mrs. Jones' eyes widened in shock. "No, son, please come back. Don't do this." But Jungkook didn't stop. He walked straight back into his room, his steps heavy with heartbreak. In one hand, he carried large bags packed with everything he had lovingly brought for Wine: ramen, ice creams, chips, candies, and her favorite snacks. He had not expected anything from his mother, only from himself. Setting the bags round, he pulled out two large suitcases and immediately started packing their clothes. "Jungkook, we shouldn't leave. Look, everyone makes mistakes. It's okay, she's still your mom." Jungkook's hands froze for a second before he turned to her, his face tight with emotion. And you are my wife. How can I call myself a husband if I can't protect you? If I let you starve in my own house? No, it's not okay, Wine. He turned back to the suitcase, stuffing clothes in without hesitation. But where will we go? She seemed to forget her husband wasn't an ordinary man. He was Jungkook, a billionaire who owned countless properties across South Korea. Jungkook zipped up the suitcases and spoke firmly. It's none of your concern. I know where to keep you safe. You left your parents for me, and I can't even give you the simple dignity of a warm meal. I must be with the washed husband. No, don't say that, please. But his decision was made. He pulled the suitcases toward the staircase. Together, hand in hand, they descended where Mr. and Mrs. Jones were already waiting at the bottom. The tension in the air was suffocating. That I'm leaving with wine. I should have done this long ago. Mr. Jones gave a slow, sad note. He knew better than anyone the depth of his wife's states. Tears welled up in Mrs. Jones's eyes as she realized her son was serious. He wasn't just pretending, he was really going. Jungkook walked up to her, but there was no warmth left in his voice. I never thought I would see the day when my own mother would treat my wife this way. You locked the fridge, you watched her starve for almost 12 hours. And when I came home, all she had was dry bread in her hands. You don't deserve to be called her mother in law, and from today you are no mother of mine. You'll never see my face again. Mrs. Jones cried harder now, but Jungkook's heart was firm. Mr. Jones, disappointment heavy in his voice, looked at his wife and said, I never expected this from you either. Without another word, Jungkook took Wine's hand and walked out of the house. The night air was cold, but their hearts were burning with emotions. They arrived at the Moonlight Villa, one of Jungkook's private villas located in the beautiful countryside outside of Seoul. The serene, luxurious property is surrounded by peaceful gardens and glowing nightlights, the perfect place to start anew. Jungkook unlocked the door and pulled Wine into a warm embrace. You are safe now. I promise no one will ever hurt you again. Wine clung to him, tears falling silently, but this time they were tears of gratitude.